I almost got into, like, not a fight, but, like, a shouting match with someone for like, absolutely no good reason. I was pulling into a parking lot at night a few nights ago, and there was this woman who was doing, like, a really huge U-turn in the middle of the parking lot, like going over several parking spots in order to get out, which I don't really care, even though she came kind of close to me. So I sort of looked at her and moved on and didn't think much of it. Then I parked in my spot, and she followed me and parked right next to me, and I got out of my car, and she says, "Is there a problem?" And I said, "No." And she says, "Well, it looks like you were saying something to me in your car." I said, "No, I wasn't saying anything to you. I looked at you, but I'm good." And she says, "Oh, okay. I thought you were saying something." And in my head, I'm like, what was she talking about? Because at the time I didn't understand. But like a minute later, I realized that the reason that she thought I was like yelling at her in the car while I was looking at her was because at that exact moment, she didn't seem to realize that I was singing "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal from the Batman Forever soundtrack. So, basically, Seal almost got me into some serious trouble.
You know, for a mild-mannered guy, Leon, you sure do have a lot of stories about weird people that get into altercations with you.
I had a really good reason for why I happened to be singing "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal from the Batman Forever soundtrack.
This is what you really want to talk about.
Yeah. The reason is, I just really love that song. It's absolutely beautiful. I was belting it out. It was great. In fact, I'm going to make that the official song of Word Funk. It's going to, like, be the closing theme to our show, because we don't have one. We always have the opening theme, which is Funky Kong's music from Donkey Kong.
It really is.
64. So, yeah, expect "Kiss from a Rose" from now on to sing us out of every episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. This week, we're going to talk about a lot of movie news related to superheroes in both of the two big cinematic universes. Somehow. The first one we're going to talk about is the DC cinematic universe, which is...
I'm sorry, I just got to jump in right here, but isn't it weird that we live in a day and age where we can actually refer to something as a cinematic universe?
Yeah, I can get into this in broad strokes here. I mean, everything is having a cinematic universe now, and that's what's going to be the box office of the next few years. Marvel...
I just feel like we should retroactively go through every movie of, like, the past 50 years, say, and then choose which universe that movie happened in. Goonies? Is Goonies a Marvel universe, or is Goonies a Twilight universe? Is Goonies Harry Potter?
I feel like everything happens in the Big Trouble in Little China universe. It's all connected through that.
Unless explicitly stated otherwise.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. I mean, in my mind... That's all I really want. I want to walk down the street and see David Lopan shoot light out of his eyes and mouth at me. I mean, isn't that the dream?
I have real trouble imagining that Bubble Boy and Big Trouble in Little China happen on the same planet.
As the official podcast of Stephen King, I would like to think that all of our, like, things take place in the Dark Tower universe, unless otherwise stated, because, you know, that's, like, the premise of that series. So
I haven't read it, so I read almost no Stephen King, which is weird because that's what we talk about. Okay. I have to jump into this, or
I know.
I'm never gonna start. Basically, DC, the cinematic universe that they're creating, rather than doing it bit by bit the way Marvel did, they're just throwing a lot of shit at us. And, like, with all these movies with tons of cameos and guest stars.
They've already decided that it's gonna be successful whether you want to pay for it or not.
Yeah. I assume we will be. I mean, Man of Steel was a huge box office success, and the next one, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, is coming out in 2016. I realize when I look at the title, I know we've made fun of it before, but I think we've talked about this title before. I don't want to get into this. We have so many movies to discuss. Suicide Squad is also coming out in 2016. I'm kind of excited for this just because I really like Deadshot from the Secret Six stories by Gail Simone. I was talking on Twitter earlier today that it's kind of weird that the Suicide Squad is coming out before Wonder Woman and the Flash. It's like we're digging up the Suicide Squad before we hit, the third part of the DC Trinity, that being Wonder Woman and the Flash, who is also kind of a big deal. But speaking of Wonder Woman, 2017, we get our Wonder Woman movie. Which
is the only one of these that I have any interest in seeing, by the way.
Yeah, they're doing for the Wonder Woman character, they're doing the New 52 origin, that being that she's just a demigod. She is the spawn of two god, or a god and not a god, and that's her thing. Now, she's no longer just a really tough woman from the Amazon island. She's just, she's a god, and that's her origin story. I don't like that as much, but no. Oh, and then Justice League Part 1. I didn't know there were going to be multiple parts, but Justice League Part 1 comes out in 2017 at the same time.
Well, there's going to be multiple Avengers movies, so obviously they have to do multiple Justice League movies.
I guess. I mean, the weird thing is Justice League Part 1 really is Batman versus Superman because...
Hey, say it right.
I'm sorry, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, The Reckoning.
Revelation.
This time it's personal.
But in all seriousness, Batman v Superman is going to also have cameos by Cyborg, by Flash, by Wonder Woman in a larger role, Aquaman, and all kinds of things. So it's just...
It's a lot to throw in a movie. I mean... I'm sorry.
It worked for Spider-Man 3 when they just jammed a bunch of villains in there, right? That movie was... Oh, wait, hold on. No, I'm thinking of a different movie. That movie sucked.
The original X-Men trilogy, too, where they just jammed as many. That's gone down in history as...
Well, the issue here is that the X-Men movies, I mean, those were ensemble movies to begin with. That was a team. Whereas Batman v Superman sounds like it should be about two characters, but they're doing all these smaller roles for these guys. So they're doing it in the reverse Marvel order. They want to copy Marvel, but they're somehow still doing it backwards. Marvel.
Well, they're too far behind now. They didn't build up the individual characters very well. They're ditching the Nolan guys.
So why not jump right to the success part where you don't even need to work for it and you've already just got a smash hit movie on your hands before you've even made it?
It's such a terrible idea. I mean, you don't have to make up for lost time. It's not like once Avengers 3 comes out, everyone's going to be like, oh, Justice League Part 1, Avengers has a 3 next to it. It doesn't matter.
No, Leon, all the money will be gone by then.
We'll have spent it all. We'll all be destitute across the world, and there'll be no more money for tickets. It's a completely backwards way of doing it. Anyway, going down the list, The Flash comes out in 2018. Apparently it stars Ezra Miller. I don't remember who that is, so I'm unprepared for this.
Do you think they get that one out faster? Buzzing.
Also, the DC Cinematic Universe, if there was any doubt, it has nothing to do with the DC TV universe. The Flash in the movie is not going to be the Flash on the show. So, which is confusing to me because it feels like, again, they're doing it backwards from Marvel. Marvel made all these movies, and then they made a TV show that's related to the movies that's apparently popular enough to have at least a second season by now. But what DC did is they had like a couple of successful TV shows, and now they're making movies, and now they're distancing themselves from the successful TV show, that being Arrow and I guess Smallville and all them.
Oh, that guy.
What?
Sorry, I just looked up Ezra Miller.
Oh, who is he?
The only movie that I've seen him in was We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Oh, that's good.
He played the teenage version of Kevin.
Well, I guess
the eldest Kevin, Elder
Right.
Kevin.
Right.
Kevin in his ultimate boss form.
That's not exactly star power, though. You'd think if they were going to change the actor from the TV series to like a bigger name, it would be somebody.
Maybe they're hoping that by 2018 he's going to be a much bigger star.
Maybe.
Then Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa, comes out in 2018. I guess this is kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say he's a big star, but people know him just because of the popularity of Game of Thrones. So, there's that. Shazam,
and also his absolutely iconic stint as Conan the Barbarian. Who doesn't think Jason Momoa when you say Conan the Barbarian?
2019, they're really hedging their bets that we're going to love these movies. 2019, that far into the future, they're already playing the Shazam movie. I don't remember who's playing the good guy, but Dwayne The Rock Johnson will be Black Adam. They needed someone who looked vaguely tan. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, but they wanted someone who vaguely looked the part, and even though his heritage is completely not that. Black Adam, by the way, if you don't read the comics, is someone who rules over Kandahar, which is a Middle Eastern country, whereas The Rock is none of those things. He is black and Samoan. So so I'm sorry, but they're basically saying, well, he's tan, so people won't care.
He was the Scorpion King.
Yeah, I guess The Rock can play anyone who's like vaguely ethnic.
In two of, I think, the 4 movies they made of the Scorpion King, so.
Rock will just be anyone vaguely ethnic that they need him to be. I'm fine with this.
Also the Tooth Fairy.
Thank you. I had heard a few months back when they were talking about the Shazam movie that it might not be connected to the DC Cinematic Universe because they wanted it to be more lighthearted. I don't know if that's still true though. And then later in 2019 we get Justice League Part 2. I wonder. Maybe I'm confused by this, and I am, but I'm curious about something. Is it called Justice League Part 2 because Justice League Part 1 ends on a cliffhanger and then we have to wait years before we see it? Or is it just there's going to be 2 Justice League movies and they're just not going to be called that? But it says here that they specifically will be called Part 1 and Part 2.
I really hope those are tentative.
I'm going to go ahead and hazard a guess that the scripts are probably not finalized at this point in time.
Really? For something that happens 5 years from now?
I mean, I know I'm really, really, really reaching by suggesting such a thing.
Yeah. I mean, we said they have drafts, but those things change, pretty dramatically from across the process, so.
Yeah.
By the way, your boy, Zack Snyder, Johnny, he will be directing...
My boy.
He'll be directing Batman v Superman. He will be directing Justice League Parts 1 and 2. And I really don't know about... I mean, it doesn't specifically say in this press release about the others, but one assumes that he will be heavily involved in some of the others.
It's like a perfect storm of shit Johnny can just ignore.
Cyborg, starring Ray Fisher, comes out in 2020. They're really pushing this. And there's going to be a new Green Lantern movie also in 2020. I guess they wanted to make that one like the last one because they wanted to distance it as far away as they could from the Ryan Reynolds one.
Yeah, just like Marvel did with their Hulk movies, where they didn't make a second Hulk movie after the first. Oh wait, hold on.
There's some other stuff. Warner Brothers also announced that it's working on 2 more DC movies, another Superman solo film starring Henry Cavill, and a standalone Batman film starring Ben Affleck. There's just no timetable for them, so they're not part of the calendar. But yeah, there will be more standalone Superman and Batman films. There's also a Lego Batman movie, which is fine. I'm totally okay with that. That's the most interested I am in all of this. Also, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is going to be doing The Sandman, and Guillermo del Toro is doing Justice League Dark, which are 2 off-mainstream projects that have been in development for a while. I'm basically just reading the thing word for word now.
The press release?
Yeah. Yeah, they're just dumped all this on us, and look, I like big movies, I like action movies, I like superhero movies. I probably will see a lot of these movies. I may not pay for them in the theater or anything, but eventually I'm going to be watching a lot of these movies. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. I mean, what is your excitement level on this? If mine's like a 5, like right in the middle, like, yeah, I'm kind of interested. How do you guys feel about this?
John, you want to go first? I think you have stronger feelings
I
than me.
insist on Johnny going first.
Okay, if I had to describe my excitement, I would probably call it at this point in time dark excitement.
The complete absence of excitement.
It's insofar as that there is something going on inside of me, and scientists are not sure exactly what it is, what it does, why it's here, how hazardous it is, or what it's going to manifest as once we finally actually get a look at it. But they kind of have to name it, because it is definitely a thing.
We can tell by observing regular excitement that there is a reaction, but we haven't been able to observe it directly.
Yeah. There's some kind of dark excitement going on right now, in my head, in my bloodstream. It's
Oh my goodness.
Do you want to elaborate, or are you just going to leave that there for everyone?
I just, I can describe what I see their actions are. I'm having difficulty, expressing my own feelings on this, because I'm not sure that they've invented words for my feelings yet. But I think that announcing these plans, all of these plans this early, smacks of a little bit of hubris, would be the word. There's a little bit of arrogance I think in DC, just deciding that they're going to tell us what the next 6 years of our cinema-going experience is going to look like.
Come on, Johnny. There's no way that they can oversaturate this market, right? It's infinite. They can just release as many of these as they want. The market will always be there.
Of course,
forever.
Absolutely, and I mean, obviously, the next one that they're going to make is going to be amazing, and everybody's going to buy into it. I mean, people were talking about, I mentioned when it came out earlier this year, I had a bunch of friends that were convinced that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to tank. Not because they didn't want to see it, or that it didn't look interesting, but that they were convinced that the bottom was going to drop out of this market at some point in time. And they were like, if it's going to happen with anything, it's going to happen with Guardians of the Galaxy. Because it's not going to happen with the Avengers 2. It's not going to happen with the next Captain America movie, or even if they decide to do, another Iron Man movie, which apparently if Mel Gibson says yes to, Robert Downey Jr. is all in.
But the Guardians was, I can't understand that. It looked like the freshest thing anyone was doing, and it was.
No, I agree, absolutely, and I told people that at the time. That was my response. I was like, no, because this is obviously different, this is Marvel saying, okay, look, if we can do this, we can do anything. But I think there's a little bit of consumer cynicism that's kind of brewing up in people, that it's like, okay, yeah, Marvel Universe, I mean, the Spider-Man movies, are already getting it. But yeah. I mean that hasn't stopped Sony Pictures from deciding that not only are they going to do an Amazing Spider-Man 3, but they're also going to do a Sinister Six movie.
Although I'll get into that when I talk about Marvel a little bit later, but there's some concerns about that even happening now.
Yes, I recognize that. I think we've all heard the rumors.
Yeah, but it was a plan at some point.
It was a plan at some point, and that's the thing, is that this is a plan right now. But when Batman v Superman comes out, and everybody pays money to see it, and it does well financially,
it's going to, obviously.
But everybody's going to kind of be like, "Wow, that was mediocre."
Here's my thinking. People didn't go to see Iron Man because Iron Man is a big name. Because before the movie, Iron Man was like, yeah, I've kind of heard of him, but I don't know anything about him. Iron Man did well because it was a good movie. I mean, you have to either have to have a really good superhero movie, or you have to have a really big name, or both. And when I see what DC does with Man of Steel, and I see all these other characters coming up with their own movies, I'm wondering, would a Flash movie that's as bad as Man of Steel make that much money? And I would think maybe not. Would a Green Lantern movie as bad as Man of Steel make very much money? And again, I would say not.
Well, how did the last one do?
Not well.
Very well.
Right, and that's kind of
yeah, that's right, Green Lantern. I'm calling you out. I'm saying that you and Man of Steel are pretty much equivalent in terms of quality as entertaining motion pictures. What are you gonna do about it?
And that's the confusing thing. And you were right. It does.
Sorry, that was the dark excitement talking.
That's okay. You're right. It smacks of hubris to just assume that because Man of Steel made a lot of money in spite of the fact that a lot of people really, really didn't like it, that all these other movies will make a lot of money too. That movie was a huge moneymaker, partly just because it's Superman. And
that's the reason why I saw it. I was like, I mean, you honestly tell me that anybody's like, oh, Henry, okay, I had some English guy, all right, Russell Crowe in the movie for 15 minutes, and I guess Amy Adams and Kevin Costner. Whoa, hold on here, hang on, we're getting pretty, and that guy from Boardwalk Empire. Okay.
Man of Steel, if nothing else, gave us back Kevin Costner, and I thank it for that. But beyond that, I'm not going to get a big rant about Man of Steel.
That's a dark rabbit hole.
Yeah, my point is that all these movies, I think they know that people are not, like, super excited to see a Shazam or Aquaman or Cyborg movie. So they're like, well, let's introduce them in more popular movies. But that just seems like they're going to... I mean,
when Iron Man came out, right, and it was super good, I remember joking. I'd be like, wouldn't it be fucking funny if they made a Thor movie? How stupid would that be? And then it was awesome,
yeah,
right?
The Thor movie was pretty awesome.
I wasn't hugely excited about the first Thor movie. It was okay, but the second one was brilliant.
I think it was because my expectations were low. I really dug it. And I think if they come out and if they make like a really killer Aquaman movie and a really killer Cyborg movie, like I'll be on board. I'm not gonna die on the hater hill here.
I'll tell you what, if they cast Idris Elba as fucking Green Lantern, I'll be there.
I'm just not confident with the recent track record. I thought Dark Knight Rises sucked. I thought Iron Man sucked. I think Green Lantern sucked. Like, most of the recent DC movies sucked. So, well, that's just how it's going. Well, why would I think it's going to be different in the future?
Fair enough. Do we want to...
Are you telling me that Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal, didn't fulfill your expectations, Austin?
That was a long time ago, Johnny. Come on.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know we weren't going back that far.
Just dragging that up.
Just digging that one out.
No,
just gonna put that on the mantelpiece.
We don't have to talk about that and Catwoman and all that. Basically, but of course, the opposite side of the coin, as we've already discussed, of DC, is Marvel. And Austin, you have some news for us.
I do.
About that.
Well, because a lot of people have been wondering where Iron Man 4 is, because Iron Man is the most successful of all the individual Marvel movies, arguably the most successful superhero franchise, period. I think Iron Man 3 is like the 5th highest grossing movie of all time.
Which is crazy, because the Captain America movies are freaking awesome.
They are great.
I love the Captain America movies.
Iron Man 2 is disappointing, and Iron Man 3 is terrible.
Especially because the Captain America movies star... Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, as Captain America. That is the greatest plot twist of all time.
I would say that Captain America Winter Soldier is better than any of the 3 Iron Man movies, but that's my opinion.
Probably. I didn't think about it,
although I do believe that
totally
Robert Downey Jr. has a little bit more charisma than Chris Evans does. Who is a respectable performer, and he does a great job as Steve Rogers / Captain America. Oh God, spoilers. Sorry guys.
If you want to see Chris Evans like emote more dramatically, see Snowpiercer, or at least one scene in Snowpiercer that's just really tragic and horrible. But no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Austin, with the Marvel news.
Okay, so what's happening with Iron Man? Robert Downey Jr. doesn't want to do or cannot be paid enough to do a 4th one, but it turns out the news that's coming out is he is going to be part of Captain America 3, which seems to signal the start of the cinematic equivalent of the Civil War storyline in comic books, which I'm not even a comic book person, and I know about this. It's the two sides some heroes are on one side, some heroes are on the other, and it's about registering people who have superpowers with the government, and they fight. Iron Man and Captain America are on opposite sides. So if this does happen, and it looks like it does, not only do we get more Robert Downey Jr., who is a charisma tornado, we also get this storyline. Leon, you're the comic book expert. Is this what you want to see? Is this good news?
I mean, part of me is excited about it so long as they do it right. Their track record suggests they probably will. I am also the thing that makes me happiest most about this is kind of a bias. See, back when Civil War was starting, people were all like, not only were the superheroes choosing sides, but the fans were. Everyone was saying like, I'm with Captain America and I'm with Iron Man, and basically Iron Man was on the you need to register with the government and we need to sort of keep an eye on you kind of side of things, whereas Captain America was like, this is actually really dangerous for us and also civil liberties and stuff, and I'm Captain America, and no. And they went after Captain America, and he was underground, and I was like, I'm with Captain America. And
I'm happy to hear that, Leon. I'm with Captain America, too.
Good. And
I'm with Spawn. Team Spawn.
Fair enough. But no, what makes me happy about this is that since Civil War is, I guess, happening in Captain America 3, I guess that means that, at least from the audience's perspective, he's the good guy, and Iron Man can be, villain might be the wrong word, but antagonist.
The antagonist, yeah. I would assume you'd have to go that route. I think, especially in like the post-Snowden era, it would be hard to get audiences to sympathize with government registration program.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about, if I can jump in quickly here, is how they're actually going to do this storyline, honestly, without Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man was a huge part of Civil War, and honestly, the X-Men sort of wanting to get involved but not being able to completely, but Wolverine did, is also, there's going to be notable absences and deviations from the source material.
Well, I mean, because the thing is that, and I can't remember, somebody pointed this out over Twitter. It was probably our PR man for the show, for WordFunk, Sean. Again, any complaints, you can send an email to Sean. That part of the problem that you have is that Civil War hinged really heavily on not just having a registry of superheroes and forcing them to work for the government, but also publicly releasing their secret identities. And secret identities hasn't really been a big thing in the Marvel Universe so far because, Tony Stark is just I do what the fuck I want, whatever, I'm Tony Stark, check my Iron Man suit out, whee!
Well, they'll have to introduce,
Thor doesn't have a secret identity, and it's if, I don't know, maybe Mark Ruffalo's coming back to be the Hulk, but
they should just have a tradition where every Hulk's a different actor. Just like the Doctor or James Bond.
Yeah, the gamma radiation keeps changing him.
Sorry, Leon, go.
I just wanted to mention something because I know someone will complain that we didn't get it right. In the comics, the Iron Man said, no, you release your secret identity to the government, but you don't necessarily have to reveal it to the public. But all the superheroes are like, that almost sounds good, except we live in the Marvel Universe, and it will be super easy for any of these bad guys to hack into the systems and find out who we are. And Iron Man was like, no, it'll be fine, and it was not fine.
No. And that's because that's the thing, is it's Spider-Man's secret identity, Peter Parker. Oh, spoilers again!
Yeah, he voluntarily publicly unmasked himself and then said, oh shit, this is horrible, because basically halfway through Civil War, I'm just going to spoil the whole comic book series. What happens is Peter Parker finds out that people who don't register are not just put in, not just locked up or put on trial. They are not given trials and put into this super secret kind of frightening prison, between dimensions or something. And he's like, well, this is really terrible. And Mr. Fantastic and Iron Man are like, well, it's just necessary for what we're trying to do. We're thinking about the future, Peter. And he's like, fuck this, and he jumps through a window. And I'm sorry, I'm just talking about Civil War because I really love that comic book series.
I'm pretty sure something else happens. Am I right? I'm pretty sure that one of Peter Parker's
That's where I thought you were going with it. Is that doesn't him revealing his secret identity get someone killed?
It endangers his family. Yeah, big time.
Okay, so I just wanted to say because the Spider-Man stuff's a good segue. The last bit of comic book news, what news is putting it strongly? There's a rumor going around that Spider-Man may be in some future Marvel projects because right now, as we've previously discussed, Sony owns the film rights to Spider-Man, but Amazing Spider-Man 2 did not make as much money as the first one, and there are some rumblings that even if they don't completely surrender it back to Marvel, they'll at least be able to use him perhaps for this Civil War stuff because, as you said, Spider-Man is important to that storyline. That would be the best case scenario. I really want Spider-Man back with Marvel.
As much as I would like that, I feel like that's not the movie where you introduce Spider-Man because you've already got... You basically...
Do you want to sit through another origin story? How many times do we have to watch Uncle Ben die?
We don't need an origin story, guys. At this point in time, you can just, throw Spider-Man in.
Well, exactly. Everyone
just boom, and people be like, "Holy shit, it's Spider-Man!"
It just sounds like Captain America 3 is already going to be packed with major characters already. So if you
jam him in Avengers 2 right at the end, you get another scene where one of the Avengers falls from the sky in New York as things are exploding, and then all of a sudden Spider-Man just comes whipping in, and it's like, "I got you, dude," and then everybody's like, "Oh look, Spider-Man! Thank God he was here all along."
That's great. That's exactly how they should play it.
If they do that, I swear to God, that is honestly how I believe Joss Whedon would handle it. He would just be like, yeah, fuck, he comes whipping in at the end, and everybody's like, thanks for backing us up, Spidey. It's a good thing you were here the whole time.
The thing is about that, if that did happen, it would be the greatest reveal ever, but there's no way it wouldn't be spoiled months in advance, of course.
Yeah,
I would love that, though. That would be insane. And I didn't even like the Amazing Spider-Man movie, but yeah, that would be cool.
I think that's the best note to go out on the comic book stories.
Yeah. There's the other thing. I'm sorry, that sounded like it made Johnny's contribution to this lacking. I'm sorry. Johnny, you have a really important story.
I suppose it's a really important story. I mean, it seems like it's been a long time coming, and everybody's like, "Oh, finally." But it's no secret that we live in the future, and you can do amazing things in the future, like access movies and television and radio and music and listen to three jerk-offs geek out about comic book movies that all live on opposite corners of a North American continent at the push of a couple buttons. One button if you're using a Mac.
It's just awful.
Hey, excuse me. Sorry, showing my colors there. But a lot of the time there's a great deal amount of frustration about certain presences in the cultural zeitgeist that refuse to move into the future, the 21st century. Everybody remembers the case of Metallica fighting Napster because both of those things are super relevant these days. But one of the great holdouts has been HBO. HBO, up until kind of this point in time, has been very staunchly opposed to having a lot of their materials accessible on demand through the internet.
Which is why all their stuff is the most pirated.
Yeah.
On the internet.
I mean, everybody here has probably read that Oatmeal comic about You know, he was like, this is a true story about me wanting to watch the first season of Game of Thrones, where it's like he goes to, you know, Netflix and no Game of Thrones. He's like, okay, maybe I'll have to go to iTunes. He goes to iTunes, and the only thing they're selling are, like, documentaries or something like that. And then he's like, okay, well, maybe they're streaming right off the HBO website. And he goes there, and it's like, there's nothing there. And, like, the only way that you can access HBO online to this day is through a service called HBO Go. And HBO Go is like a perfectly functional service, but the only way to access it is you need to have access to a cable box that you have paid a subscription for to purchase HBO through a select number of cable providers in North America. That you then get a password from this cable provider, and you're like, oh, okay, this is my account with that cable provider, here's my password, and only then are you capable of watching HBO online.
Which in many regions, including my own, means going through Comcast, which may as well be like the devil himself at this point.
Yeah, I go with, in Canada, I go with a pretty small-time cable internet provider myself, because in Canada there's like TELUS and Rogers and Shaw, and like Rogers and Shaw are practically like the same thing. It's just depending on what area of the country you live in. If you live in like the east, it's Rogers. If you live in the west, it's Shaw, but you know, whatever. So I go with a company called Novus, and I get HBO on my cable internet. I get it, because I can't do without my John Oliver. But I don't get to watch HBO Go because Novus doesn't have HBO Go capability. So if I miss an episode of my John Oliver, then I need to download it off the internet. Although it's kind of weird because lately HBO has been doing things like uploading large segments of John Oliver's show onto YouTube, which is really disconcerting. It's discommunicate with a lot of the, I don't even know if that's a word, with a lot of...
just go full Shakespeare, make it up.
There we go, yeah. It's really discommunicate with their other messagoriums that suggest that the conveyance of their materialisms... I'm done.
Got bored.
Yeah, got bored. Done. But it's really dissonant with their message up to this point in time, that it's like, if you want to watch HBO, you're going to have to pay for it. And you're going to have to pay through the nose, because even then, the only way to buy HBO is part of a larger cable package. Well, did I say we were living in the future? Because we are. Because HBO has announced they're going to be issuing or starting a standalone streaming service where you can watch their crap on the internet. And they make good crap. It's the kind of crap you want to watch. You know, it's the kind of crap where you're like, look at that. That's pretty impressive crap.
That's probably going to have to be the title. Impressive crap.
It's the same thing with iTunes and Steam and all this other stuff. You make it convenient, you make more money. It's as simple as that. It's not even rocket scientist, right? It's just whatever. It's amazing that we even have to have this conversation.
In fucking 2014?
Yeah. They're so resistant to change that I'd rather just fight it. Like, I've seen it, I don't know if you guys have been following this, like all the stuff with net neutrality and whatnot. All these, the cable companies, you know, the Time Warner and whatnot, they are furious at Netflix for having the balls to exist and make money. It's just the audacity of them to give people what they want, instead of making them tune in at 7 to see the reruns of the shows they don't give a shit about.
And not just that, but to do it at such an affordable price as well.
Mm-hmm. And so it's why, if you want Netflix money, why don't you just be Netflix? It seems simple to me. Am I missing something?
You know, like, I was under the impression that one of the tenets of capitalism was that you compete or die.
No, but the free market only works.
You don't go whining to mommy about how somebody else is beating you and making more money than you are.
You only support the free market when it's in your benefit. When someone else is competing with you, then you get all mad, get all huffy, take your ball home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just have a discussion about economics, guys. That's what the fans really want.
Well, the thing is, though, I'm happy to hear this, but I also have reservations about it at the same time.
What do you think? Like too pricey?
No, I'm not necessarily worried that it's going to be too pricey because, again, obviously, if they want to compete with Netflix and if they want to compete, there's this great book, just as a quick aside, there's this great book out there that everybody should read if you're into digital culture and distribution. It's called The Pirate's Dilemma. It's fantastic. It does basically a motive by motive breakdown of why people steal shit on the internet, why they steal music, why they steal TV shows, why they steal movies, and a lot of the time that boils down to, well, it's easier.
Mm-hmm. Convenience versus price.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
And that is the thing, is that if a service comes down low enough in price, you can just browse, go to a random Steam user and browse their games library and see how many of those games that they've bought they've played. Because
the eternal backlog. It's just easier to accumulate them than it is to play them.
It is. And this is the thing, is that it's there comes a point in time where the price drops low enough for a product and people go, yeah, I'll spend $9 on that. They won't get to it for 6 years. Trust me, I'm talking from experience here. But they see the price drop low enough, and they just go, well, that's too good a deal not to. Up until that point in time, you are not only battling, you're battling price, you're battling convenience, you are battling availability, and the thing is that almost all the time, official support and official providence trumps free. Because if there's a problem, you can go to somebody with your problem. They will fucking fix your problem.
Yeah.
There's never an issue of availability because they're always there for you. Their speeds are guaranteed. It's like having an agreement with someone means that you have dominion over them in a certain manner. No, it really does. Because if you're not living up to your end of the agreement, then you have authority to be like, okay, what the fuck? I am paying you. This is a deal, dude. And then it is incumbent upon them to do something about it or possibly suffer the loss of your money.
Although, Johnny, it's funny. I follow a number of publisher Twitter accounts, and you wouldn't believe how many pirates send angry messages to publishers asking for technical support.
Oh, no, I know it happens, but...
It's hilarious.
But at that point in time, nobody is required to do anything.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's just funny that
a lot of the time, I see the response being, well, buy the game and we'll talk.
Yeah. It's just the psychology of that situation is always funny to me.
Yeah. But when you actually have a reasonable, you're not going to be contacting HBO Go and being like, yeah, what the fuck, man? I totally torrented this episode of The Leftovers and the codec messes up at 30 minutes in. I can't finish watching this video. Do something about it. When it's a streaming service, very specifically, as opposed to a product just that you download from them, and then you're kind of like, oh, it's sort of mine. I can do what I want with it. Having that agreement adds a security for the consumer to kind of comfortably rest upon. Yeah. And so read the book is the point. The book's great. You should read the book, The Pirate's Dilemma.
Okay.
But part of me, so on the one hand, I'm like, yes, HBO, convenient, hopefully cheap, available, simple to get. This would all be fantastic. What I don't want is more television networks thinking they're fucking HBO. I don't want NBC being like... HBO's doing it. Surely people will want to spend $15 a month to watch. I don't even know what's on NBC right now.
Hannibal
Girls. Hannibal. I would pay decent money to watch Hannibal, but if it's just Hannibal, I'm gonna fucking buy the Blu-rays. HBO's got a pretty sizable lineup of shit that people want to watch.
I just looked it up because I wasn't sure. I was going to say something, but I wanted to make sure. NBC owns 33% of Hulu, so that's already. I mean, if all the other 33s are Fox and Disney, so which Disney owns ABC. So I mean, that is already kind of existent, I guess.
I suppose, but I mean, it is a cooperative existence at least.
Yeah. So I mean, if you have for the major streaming options, you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have I guess this HBO Go. I mean, I think that's a sustainable ecosystem. If every channel on basic cable had their own streaming service, like there's an ESPN Go, if there's a like that would be the cooking channel Go, like that would be insane. But I think 4 or 5 options is perfectly reasonable.
Absolutely, yeah. I just don't want everybody getting carried away to the point where, like the shopping mall of watching movies and television becomes, well, let's go to the HBO store for this one show. Okay, now let's go to the ABC store for this show, and let's go to the FX store for this show, and then let's go to fucking. Oh, time to watch the WWE network. Oh. The WWE network is a thing. Yeah,
I would say I think that actually does exist.
No, it does. It does actually exist.
Yeah. So.
And I mean, I guess they're kind of operating on a specialized fan base.
I don't know enough about it to make any informed observations, but if it's successful, then obviously there's a market there.
Yeah. I just wouldn't it be really stupid if suddenly this, more availability and, cheaper availability that you get from Netflix suddenly becomes us just doing the whole cable thing again, only we're paying, $15 a month per channel or per channel conglomerate a month to, once a year they just go, hey, here's the entire season of,
You joke, though, but I would rather have everything basically stay the same, with the only difference being I can choose what episode I want to watch and when, instead of having to wait for certain time slots. Because that's half of my frustration with the current model. I guess the old on the way out model was that we were bound to certain places in time, and you can only watch what they're showing. Yeah. So even if we didn't pay more, it's already an improvement, so...
It's true, but I mean, fucking TiVo and PVRs have existed for a great amount of time here.
True. So it's a combination of that plus the hopefully lowering prices. Yep.
All right. Anything more we want to say before we go?
We still have 8 minutes before Leon pulls the plug and runs.
You want to talk about Gamergate?
No, do not talk about Goomygate.
Okay.
Glamourgate?
I've actually been thinking about this. I'm not going to talk about this controversy. I just want to run something. I want to run something by you guys, okay? Because a lot of people say they want objective. I'm using finger quotes. Objective game reviews. Yeah. And there's been a running joke for a long time about what that would look like. Like, Mario is a man who jumps. You push the button and he jumps on the turtles. Just saying things robotically.
Except there would be some reviews that would be like, Mario is a man who jumps. You press the button, and sometimes he does not jump. I am not sure if this not jumping is a part of the game, but sometimes he jumps and other he does not. If this is intended by the game, then it happens. If it is not intended by the game, it must be accidental. That may or may not be good. Go on, Austin. Continue.
Oh, no, Austin is briefly away.
I didn't even know. I'm sorry. I didn't know that he was briefly away.
Okay. While he's gone, he doesn't want me to talk about anything controversial. So while he's gone, I'm gonna some fuck trumpet.
I'm back. Knock it off.
Damn
it. Don't you dare talk about Goomygate while I'm here. Okay, here's what I was going to say about objective reviews, because I was thinking about it, and tell me if this makes sense to you, because objectively, purely objectively on a cosmic scale, is it not miraculous that we have evolved intelligent life on this planet that has harnessed electricity in such a way as to create computational technologies and create video games? I think objectively, E.T. the Extraterrestrial for the Atari 2600 is a miraculous piece of art on an eternal timeline.
I am disinclined to agree with you, Austin, because on an objective level, just because it is rare does not imbue it with the qualities of miraculous.
I agree with Johnny.
Okay, here's another idea. Okay. What if, therefore, all games are objectively terrible because we will eventually, in the future, the far future, reach a point where we can upload our brains into perfect virtual reality worlds where you can like smell and taste stuff. So all video games that are being made now pale in comparison to this theoretical future utopian art design. Objectively, Leon, our games are shit comparatively. Objectively, you have to be objective.
I disagree. Because several generations after the NES, I would still say that certain NES games are way better than stuff we have now. So
don't say better. We're talking objectively. God, you just totally lost all credibility. Collusion. This is corruption in this podcast and bias.
But Leon, think about it. From you're a caveman in this analogy, right? You're a caveman. You see a cave painting. You're like, damn, that's a fine ass cave painting. But objectively, compared to like the Mona Lisa, it sucks. It sucks like 1,000 dicks, right? But from your perspective, it looks awesome. So objectively, on a long enough timeline, all of modern art is terrible.
Well, and although you're joking, that's sort of the thing about saying we want objective video game reviews. Video games, video games just like movies and books and everything else, they exist as art, and therefore they are subjective. There's no way to give an objective review of a video game or a movie or anything like that, because it's not like reviewing a vacuum cleaner, where there's basic things that you have to sort of go down a checklist and explain to people what it does. And that's the thing. If there was such a thing as an objective video game review, then there would be no need for video game reviews. We would just instantly know exactly what it is. There would never be any deviation. They would, you would just load it up and says, oh, well, this is obviously an 8.35 because it meets these exact criteria that we have all agreed upon are what makes a good game, and we just don't. And that's the whole thing about objective reviews. It makes no sense because we can't agree on what makes a good game, and that's fine. We shouldn't. We have different tastes, and that's sort of the whole point.
Austin, I'm disinclined to agree with you again, because objectively, in order to objectively examine an oeuvre, a genre, not even a genre, but the sum of work of the universe, we need to eliminate our method of seeing it through time.
Oh God, we're interfering it with our observation.
Yes, we need
on a quantum physics level, we cannot even review art objectively.
We need to look at it all as one. We need to look at it holistically, removing it from our constraints as a temporally limited observational point in space-time.
Can Dr. Manhattan objectively review video games? Because doesn't he
he
sees all time simultaneously?
Yes, he can. Yes, and I imagine that if we asked Dr. Manhattan to objectively review a video game, he would probably teleport farther away from this planet than he did at the actual end of The Watchmen.
Okay. On that amazing note, we really do have to go. Anything you want to say right before I press the stop button?
No, that was perfect.
I'm good with that.
Remember, kids, always moisturize afterwards.
Stop it.